Let's try that again. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bull Rush. I am your host, Schmooglydorf. I am joined today, as always, with Noirbot and Wolfman, and we are talking about the new leaked Founders Pack, how Motiga handled the leaking of the Founders Pack, and possibly getting to our hopes, thoughts, and dreams on monetization, maybe a little bit about the current 10-ton hammer tier list, if we get to it. Yes, we're total professionals, by the way. Absolute professionals.
We're all-stars.
We're all-stars, yeah.
I appreciate that stream got that joke and none of the context for why I was making it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's really
but it won't
sad.
matter because I'm not highlighting it until the point when I'm actually talking, so...
It's fine, we'll edit it out.
That never happened, don't worry about it. Yeah. But let's get started. Just last night, was it? Was it last night or the night before?
It was yesterday afternoon.
Yesterday afternoon, yes. Our resident data miner in Gigantic posted up a thing on our Reddit saying, hey look, there's a Founders Pack in the files for the beta, including instant access to the beta, all launch and heroes unlocked, exclusive skins, extra beta keys to share, exclusive profile icons, and much, much more.
I just want to say, like, Perry just interrupting and be like, he was just like, just with his cup of whatever he's drinking. He's like, it was actually in the middle of the afternoon. Yes, quite.
I'm very posh.
Oh, quite, yes, rather posh. So, no, getting to... They have some new sections that he's talking about, a collections section within the game, badges that you can use, fortune cards, which we haven't heard anything about before, skins, obviously we kind of knew about, and boosters, which is a little bit of a new idea. There are...
stuff here.
Yeah.
So much stuff.
And honestly, not all of this is related to the Founders Pack. I mean, the Founders Pack is just, like, the head of that. You know, the skins are obviously for everyone. Or at least the skins that got...
Well, you can purchase them, anybody can. Presumably is the idea. When it comes to skins, it's showing it has up to 4 variant skins for what he's calling Swift is Tyto the Swift, which implies a chroma sense in there, possibly for more than just Tyto. There's hero skins for a good host of different people.
It's literally everyone but HK.
Literally everyone but HK.
No one likes the robot, evidently.
Oh,
yeah.
Poor HK.
HK's left out. I'm assuming there's some. There's got to be some, you know.
And I mean, this points to the fact that it looks like the idea is, at least for the start of open beta or whenever all this starts coming out, we're gonna have probably 2 skins per hero. It looks like is generally the goal.
And I just had an idea. I just had an amazing idea.
Okay.
There needs to be like a rustic HK skin, and it's a tribute to Ferris.
Oh my god.
I'm going to continue to be the only person that didn't play Dawngate and has no idea what you're talking about.
That was amazing.
Yeah,
like,
so...
That's an amazing idea, is it not? Like,
Ferris was this idea of a
someone
golem,
else
basically. Like a magical stone-built golem. So that, but HK.
Oh my god, he's amazing.
I would actually prefer it as Wild West HK, and all of his guns are flintlock pistol style guns, and his main cannon is just the original Gatling cannon.
I'll only accept it if he has a cowboy hat on.
Exactly, that's the point. Cowboy hat, he has to have the bandoliers going down his chest, the whole deal. Has to be
the only catch.
Yeah, the one thing that's actually kind of interesting about these skins and kind of... So, I mean, my initial worry, and something we heard a lot in the community and, like, earlier community councils, was the sort of, like, oh, no, if we do skins, we're going to have, silly, Wu is now a soccer player, and, Gnosis in a cow outfit. And so there was a lot of worry about that earlier. It seems like we pretty much straight up all of these skins are... Like, they feel in-world. Like, these feel like things that, like, these
canon,
characters...
almost.
I mean, not even so much... not necessarily that I think there's, like, actual lore behind why they have each of these outfits, but they're, like, they feel like they fit in with the feel of the world.
With the exception of Wu.
Which, I mean, I think... Well, but maybe even Wu, they could, like, write out why he's got that look.
Or why he's got the ninja outfit on, and why he's got this punk outfit on. Well, maybe.
I think kind of like, as a balance point, so, I mean, League of Legends Worlds has been on, and I've been getting sick and tired of watching people play with basketball Darius all weekend. Because I'm like, to me, Darius is... He's got a big axe, he runs around hitting people with an axe, and watching him run around with a basketball, like, clubbing people with a basketball goal is just, like, it's it's stupid to me. Like, and I'm not normally the type to be like, this skin is too dumb. Like, I like kind of like the flashy or silly ones now and then.
Yeah.
But like, it does kind of break your immersion when it's like everyone are like these badass mystical warriors, and then it's like, and there's the one dude in basketball shorts that's running.
I think it's more of a worry, I would say, with Gigantic though than with League of Legends. But that's the thing. It's like with Gigantic, it's a 3D world. Immersion is a much bigger part of it versus with League of Legends, where it's just like, oh, you're kind of looking down on this. You're not like a part of what's going on. So I would agree. It's like, yeah, that's a problem. You know, like what happens when we create this thing that's too out there? It's too weird, you know? And I personally, with the Wu skins, that's kind of like a taste of it. Because Punk Wu, yeah, there can be a reason why it exists, but it's a little bit outside of the realm of the fantasy realm that they're trying to emulate with this. So
but, like, it's close enough to the edge. Like, it's the difference between like straight up like we copied this style and like it's like the Wu one's almost more of like an homage to a style.
Yeah,
right? Like it's an homage to like that, you know, the kind of classic like punk.
I guess, yeah.
Out, where it's like, you know, hey, maybe whatever, you know, Imperium went through a punk phase.
Yeah, I guess, but you know, even then,
it's not silly.
I wouldn't be too terribly, you know, annoyed by the fact that, hey, look, Wu is now a soccer player. But, you know, that's me. I like the silly skins sometimes, you know? I think there's a nice inherent coolness to them, but, you know, I mean, I still won't rock them all too often. Like, in, like, League of Legends, for example, I could very easily be rocking, you know, different skins for Ezreal. Like, I could be rocking the freaking, like, Taipei Assassins Ezreal that I have, but I choose instead to do Nottingham, because it's cool. That's a nice skin. It looks nice.
And I think the other thing is, you know, even the ones that are a little more, like, immersion breaking are still fitting the design aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, is like, even something like Punk Wu, it's like, sure, it's kind of like maybe a little outside of like the lore, but it still looks like Wu, and it looks like the rest of the characters in the game. Like, it feels like, even if you can't justify why he's wearing the outfit, it still looks like an outfit you could see Wu wearing.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between doing stuff like that and going into Smite style, where we have Lil Mono when that came out. He's literally just gangster dude walking around with a baseball bat in this, you know, mythology world, or He Bro, which I fucking hate with a passion. Fucking, oh my god, I hate that skin so much. But that's my main problem with it. It breaks out of the style too much. And it's not ridiculous, it's just stupid. And I'm fine with it being a little bit silly. I'm fine with it being that. I mean, the Valentine skins in League of Legends are very much that. They're silly, but they're still cool. You know?
Actually, those are a good example of ones where it's like, it still feels like, for the most part, they're in taste with the character's design, right? Like Varus, or not Varus's, Ash's Valentine's Day skin is still ludicrous, and it's a Valentine's Day skin, but it looks in line with all of her other outfits. So it's like, okay, it's a little weird to assume that, like, this character would dress like this, but, like, it does still kind of look like that character.
Yeah, and I mean, we could definitely see that in Gigantic becoming a thing, and we kind of almost get it with Margaret and, like, Knight Margrave, where it's not necessarily, you know, canon, I guess, you know, with how Margrave is brought to us as this demon arm warrior guy, you know, but it still works, because it's like, yeah, but what if he is a knight, you know?
Yeah, like, I'm okay with doing, like, alt history skins, but, you know, just, like, don't go totally all off board. The one thing that's interesting, I think, about a lot of these skins being more, like, sedate is I feel like it's the kind of thing where I would just pick the one I like the most and, like, only buy that one.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to look at this and be like, I really like, you know, Urban Trip, and I don't really care about any others, and I'm just going to buy Urban Trip and only ever play with that, because, like, you don't have occasions for your skins in the way you would with some other stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, that you could say about really any game with skins, though. But it's like, the thing
that I want to buy.
Yeah, like, for me, I would totally buy a lot of different skins, because the problem is like, for my two currently favorite characters, Vodin and Mozu, they both have this sense of, I want both of those skins because they look awesome. And the one problem, though, I have with a lot of these skins is a lot of them just kind of feel like recolors. They're not, like, they look like color variants more than anything else. Like, for example, you know, the Vodin Elder one that just looks like a brighter, different color scheme Vodin.
Though we are also looking at literally just the splash art, you know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We have no idea if like the particles got redone or what. I mean,
yeah,
like
but
you look at like Margrave, like Demon Margrave doesn't look that, like it's got some noticeable flourishes, but it's still relatively similar. But like we're also with like a splash screen of Margrave, we're looking at like this much of him, like
yeah, but
he's
like
an enormous character. There's a lot to that you can make look drastically crazy.
I think the problem is like specifically a good example. Would be like Unbird Swift is one of the golden Taito. Looks very much like he's got some flourishes there, but it's roughly the same. Yeah, that's what he's called it.
I think it's Sunbird.
Sunbird, yeah, it's probably what it's supposed to be. I love this. I love the data miner, by the way. He just does these like little typos there. But Sunbird Swift. Yeah, right. Like, what does that even mean? Anyway, the problem I have with it is that it.
Too powerful, so now he's no longer a bird. It's like what?
Oh,
Taito is no longer a bird
in the community now.
No, like, but anyway, the problem I have with it, like, yeah, there's some flourishes there, but he's roughly wearing the same armor, the same type of clothing, and it's just a recolor. With Margrave Demon, he is wearing different armor. It is noticeable. And the same could be said for, Mozu Battle, but not so much about Mozu Doom. Like, the Doom skin just looks like they darkened the color a little bit, gave her these evil eyes, and that's about it. But it still looks cool. I mean, a good example of that in Dogget was Zalgus. There was the one Zalgus skin that was literally just a recolor, but it still looked badass.
King of Mass had one of those too.
Yeah, King of Mass had one of those.
The cape in the back was like
recolored a little bit.
Pattern
and again, I'm fine with that if it looks cool, but it feels to me like maybe we're phoning it in a little bit. I mean,
I don't know. I would be again like this is all super preliminary. We have no idea what these look like. I think it's a little preliminary to say like what is or isn't a recolor.
Yeah, because again, we could say that about so many. Griselma Demon kind of is basically a recolor with a little bit more pointiness added to her. The Zenobia Manta is basically a recolor with some changes to style.
Don't even talk shit about the Zenobia Manta. She looks like the Dark Knight, and it's amazing. And
it does, yeah.
Well, and I think the big thing with all of them is some of these... You have to remember that compared to skins in more 2D games, we're talking about a lot more work going into even a recolor. Because, like, it's not just, Control F all the greens, replace them with blues, bam, you have a recolor. Like, these are all skins where even the little touches are going to require a pretty major amount of work for some, 3D artist to go through and
really change those, yeah.
Because, like, I would say, like, the one that's probably, like, most straight up looks like it's just a, like, flat recolor is, like, the Vadasi skins.
I guess.
Like, Vadasi just looks like, we took Vadasi and changed all of her colors, give or take. But, like, both of those are ones where it's, like, if we
gave her a hat.
Yeah, if they went through and, like, actually, like, changed all of her particles and her beams now match the same color and, she's floating around, like, I think... even that amount of work, it'll look good. They're not. It's not phoning it in because even a recolor is a lot of work.
It is, yeah. I think the only ones that I'm currently disappointed with are the Aisling ones because, they kind of did, like, this one's a goth Aisling and then this one's a noble Aisling. They still look like Aisling, They don't look like they've done much to her. But again, like you said, not doing much is still a lot of work, but it just feels like they're... Maybe they don't have enough ideas of what they want to do with Aisling yet. Maybe they're just trying to figure it out. But we don't even see Khador in this. Khador, as part of the Aisling Noble, might be completely different. He might be, like, in a suit. You never know. And with Goth... yeah, why not?
Dude,
why not?
Not like in a suit, but, dress...
He's an armored ghost warrior, though. Why would he be in a suit?
Because now he's a butler.
No, not like a tuxedo. You just make him like where he's wearing like how like
formal attire.
When you're in the army, you've got like your battle gear, and then you've got the
the dress uniform.
Ceremony. Yeah, dress uniform. That's what I'm trying to get.
Yeah,
like he just dress uniform Khador would be really cool with like the small saber, like the formal sword, like a formal sword instead of like the big claymore. Like that'd be awesome.
Maybe I guess.
Yeah,
but actually separately, speaking of weapons, the other thing that got popped was weapon skins are a thing.
Yeah, for Lord Gnosis, Taito, and Amani, their weapons will change. We've got it for all of those specific weapons. Yeah, hey, look.
Paired.
Swift
skins.
Sunbird. So yeah, he did make that typo in the weapon skins. It says
in that case, what speaking of typo though, like you were saying, like Unbird didn't look like it was gonna, it was just a recolor, but in this case, it looks like the weapon is going to be completely different.
That right now.
Like the weapon is going to be, at least noticeably different.
Yeah, it may still have like that same red flourish coming behind it or whatever. It may still look like the normal sword unless you get the weapon skin, or maybe the weapon skins are paired with the skin itself. So
I mean,
it's
that's
just
what it
saying,
looks like.
yeah. I mean, and if it isn't, then what the hell are they doing? Like they're making me pay twice for this stuff? Are you kidding?
That would be silly if it's like you have to buy the skin and then buy the weapon skin to go with the skin. Like it would be like that's like just sell me them together. Like,
yeah, please. Like seriously.
Like let me experience this as the designer intended.
Exactly. So that would, if they did do that, that would be a pain in the ass too, because then it's just like, why am I paying twice for the skin, basically? Because that's just a dick move, monetarily at that point. Speaking of monetarily, we can move into our boosters as well. They're giving us these lovely choice to boost things, but even some of these boosters are a little bit vague. I mean, experience boost, okay. Prestige boost? I mean,
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
You know what it might be
idea.
is like you look at like something like Heroes of the Storm. You have like experience might be on that specific character, or on that hero, and prestige is like your account level.
Okay, maybe. It might be. And then, of course, they have the gold boost, which is your in-game currency. The Wind of the Day boost, which may actually be... I don't know. That may actually be what it is, or it may just be...
Buy too many of them, you create a hurricane.
Yeah, right? Like, God. No, the Wind of the Day boost, or the Win of the Day boost, that's also, for your first Win of the Day. Yay! And then, what in the world is this Founders Pack boost? XP Founders level? Like, do you have...
I would assume it's some... Like, I guess that kind of makes sense, though, because, like, we actually kind of glossed over talking about the Founders Pack. If the Founders Pack is intended to be a, like, you were already in the beta or something, like, buy this to, help support the game and, like, have all your fancy stuff like that, giving people who have been playing the game for, a year or so, the ability to just be like, and you're not going to have to level your, you're not going to have to regrind your levels. Like, you're just going to unlock everything. And then on top of that, you just get an XP boost because, you've already been playing the game for like 5 months. Why, why don't you regrind it?
But then this gets a little bit into the monetization, talk here is like, what then happens? Are we going to force everybody who was already part of the beta and whatnot just a free Founders Pack for being in it for this long? Or are they going to have to force everyone that's in the beta to buy it again?
I assume, yeah.
But the thing is like one of the major thing is at the beginning, he says the Founders Pack includes instant access to the beta, which implies people who aren't already in it. What happens to those people that are already in it, who've also been grinding out this game for how long and have currency? Like, I don't know about you, but in my game, it'll show it right at your splash screen. I've got 60,000 gold right now because I've just been playing for that long. What happens to that?
Odds are we don't get, like, that'll probably get reset almost 100%. Like, I 100% do not expect us to keep any in-game currency we're getting during
Neither do I, but that would be nice. Like, as like, yeah, thanks for being with us since, however long you've been here. You get to keep, even if it's not all of it, because, I mean, 60,000, that's pretty ridiculous. Well, but, let's say you keep 50% of what you did. Or, okay, you were in it for this long, here, have a flat amount that everyone gets the same amount for being in the beta for this long.
Honestly, what I imagine is they're gonna just once we go to. I assume this is gonna be around open beta. Like that's like obviously okay. So if the founders to do some like mental theory crafting, right? So if the Founders Pack gives you access to the beta, the Founders Pack must be for sale before open beta.
Yeah. Because
otherwise, why would you buy it? Right? Like if it gives you access to the beta, and they've said that open beta is going to be a thing. They must be putting the Founders Pack on sale before. While we're still in closed beta.
And they're saying that they're going to be releasing the game by the end of the year, so what happens?
Well, that's the... Well, I mean, the releasing the game the original thing was they were supposed to release the game with Windows 10, and, we all know that.
That didn't happen, no.
That's not even close to happening. So, I will take... Until it is on screen, like, at an Xbox conference, I'm taking all rumored dates with a grain of salt. But I think we're going to see... I guess the other thing is it means during closed beta we're going to see skins and shop. right?
Yeah.
So because if the Founders Pack is giving you icons, skins, and a boot and like some kind of booster to your experience, all of those systems must be in place in the beta when they offer it.
Which
Otherwise,
means
why
that
would you
they're
buy it?
which means that's also going to have to be connected to the Xbox Live account system for cross-platform play. Because why wouldn't it be?
Well, yeah. Well, because if it's going to be tied to your account, they have to tie it to your account, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to be spending money on the game, it has to be tied to my account that I'm going to be using for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it can't just be floating off as some weird information that's kind of sort of linked, but not actually linked. Like, it's part of a gigantic system, not part of an Xbox Live system. But, which that also implies the inclusion of, you know, cross-platform play being done in in closed beta, party systems, and friends list and chat systems all being brought back in.
Well, and all that's going to come with Xbox, essentially. Like, that's been the official word, is where, you know, all the party and chat system is waiting on Xbox Live.
On Live Arcade, yeah.
Well, and alongside that, you know, what we also know is we're probably getting voice chat as part of that.
Yeah, well, and that would make sense too, because that's been a part of the, you know, the Xbox Live Arcade systems since Xbox 360.
Yeah,
but the
fact that that's been a thing for Xbox forever.
But the fact that we're going to get that on PC then, right? Because if there's cross-platform play, there
has
to be some sort of audio integration.
Yeah, it has
from
to
Xbox to PC, which will actually be interesting. Because as far as I know, like Windows Xbox has never had voice chat as a part of its feature. Like Games for Windows Live didn't.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, there aren't any games out right now on Windows 10 Xbox that have multiplayer.
Yeah.
That are like actually through like the Xbox Live ecosystem on PC.
Yeah. So, you know, that addition to it, you know, will be coming at some point. It has to.
Yeah,
and
I
all
really
of it's going to have to be behind, you know, closed beta. So then what happens then if this Founders Pack does come into closed beta, but then we move into open beta a few short, like maybe a month after the Founders Pack originally is put out? Do we just keep the Founders Pack? The idea of, hey, look, you can still purchase all the heroes and all these cool skins and whatnot and all these boosts, but you don't get the instant access to beta because you're already in it. It's just, hey, look, thanks for being part of the game and spending money this early.
Yeah, because the Founders Pack includes instant access to beta and then extra beta keys to give away. But if we're in a release or if we're in an open beta where keys aren't required, you know,
then it's like, okay, what's the point?
What's the point of of that? And are they going to reduce the value of it just to?
We also don't know. Like, it's entirely possible to just be like, you know, buy the Founders Pack for X amount of money, and then if you already have an account, you can add the Founders Pack to your existing, you know, beta keyed account for, you know, $5 less. Or something like, you know, $10, you know, X% off of the normal price, since you don't need a beta key. Which would also serve as a, like, thank you for having helped test, you know, here, have a Founders Pack for, you know, not full price.
Yeah, and
the Founders Pack says that it includes exclusive skins and exclusive profile icons. So yes,
cosmetics. Oh, and also all launch heroes unlocked, which like that's actually like
that to me is all I care about.
That's something worth it.
That's all I care about.
They're going to be putting it as though.
Yeah.
Though something about that though, like for people in the beta, like we're used to having all the heroes unlocked. Like we've been playing with all the heroes. Like it does feel a bit like, okay, so like you have your pile of candy, we're gonna take away your pile of candy and then sell it back to you for $20. It's like, really? Like, okay.
Yeah, right?
It's like we've been playing your game for, you know, however many months with all the heroes unlocked, helping you test all of the heroes, and now we have to pay you to unlock them all again?
Yeah, but at the same time, I would say that's almost a part of the, you know, the beta experience, because harkening back to the original days of beta, just for being in the beta didn't guarantee you the game, and we saw that come back with Titanfall. You know, anybody could be in Titanfall beta, you didn't get the game, like and that's my thing. Like, you shouldn't expect it. Like, if you're paying for it, fine. If you're actually paying for the game, you're paying to get into the beta, fine. But we were invited. We were invited in by the group. We weren't paying to get in. We weren't paying them to do any of this. We're just spending our time that is entirely on us. We don't have to be here and test their game. In fact, actually, there are a great deal many of beta testers, you know, who don't play every week. You know, that is a thing. So
Yeah.
I don't think we're owed anything. Yeah, we played the
Yeah.
whole, you know, we're testing on all these things, but we're not owed shit, you know? Like, if they want to
Yeah.
make us pay for all the heroes, that's fine. Because, again, we're not paying for the game. Even if it
Yeah.
is a free-to-play game. We're not paying for it.
And honestly, in that case, like, depending on how much the Founders Pack is, I might just, like, grind the heroes because, like, that's interesting. And
Yeah.
the kind of funny thing about having
Fucking-
been in beta is we actually know it's like, oh, yeah, I don't like playing Trip, so, like, maybe I just never bother unlocking Trip.
Yeah, but and that's the thing is like that's almost cool, you know, from that sense. Like, I wouldn't mind grinding through it. Get the grind because that grind also implies that you're learning things about these heroes while you're playing. You're not just unlocking them so you can sit in your dustbin for a while. No, you're gonna play them.
Yeah.
You know, and that's an interesting thing, you know, to do while you're playing it. And not to mention, they're talking about these other things, or he's talking about these other things that are going to be a part of the game, badges and fortune cards, which I'm almost assuming are going to be part of a progression system. They said that new sections, badges, and fortune cards. So
Well,
and
badges-
collections almost.
Badges, I think, like, wasn't there, like, when you're playing, like, during packs, like, it pops up the, like, you
Yeah,
got,
the
like, a triple kill new badge.
Triple kill or pentakill or at death's door. So that may be
Yeah.
those, but
say,
that's a
like, badge or
collectibles thing.
taggable icon. Yeah, so it's probably, like, it's like an achievement system, it seems like. Like, badges
Maybe.
are-
Yeah,
like,
no,
I assume it's not like
this-
they're selling you badges. It's more of a, like, hey,
Yeah.
here's the page to go see all the badges you've unlocked by doing crazy random
Or
stuff.
maybe you get enough of these badges and you gain like an extra bonus for something or another.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like, if you did get, like, a certain number of triple kills, like, you unlock some money or something. That'd be like a
It could
nifty
also
system.
just be kind of a like an EP kind of stroke.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I've got 12 pentakills.
Well,
Doesn't
like-
matter, I did them all on Trip.
Give me my icon.
Or in my case, Mozu. I had like 3 last week.
It was the badge system was kind of discussed on the Clash course on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty
Yep.
cool idea of what's going on and how it'll work, but
Yeah.
like it's just a cool thing that really a lot of this stuff is just all really cool stuff that we're kind of just speculating, and it really needs to be flushed out a lot. And
Yeah.
that's kind of stuff that we all just really have to wait on and see where it
I'm looking
goes.
forward to it. Because they said, you know, on the
I'm
main
really looking
post,
forward
hey,
to it,
look,
for
we're going to
sure.
actually show you all of these skins so that you're not just seeing these weird splash things. That's cool. And then they're also saying, hey, look, we're going to show you, you know, all these other systems that's in there. So maybe they'll get and say, hey, look, here's what the badge system is, what we're envisioning the badge system is going to be. Let's see if you
Yeah.
like it. And hey, look, here's what we're talking about when we say fortune cards, what they are and how they're going to affect your gameplay, or if they are going to affect your gameplay. Because we don't know.
Yeah. One question for each of you. How
Okay.
much should the Founders Pack cost? Given, like, assuming nothing changes, assuming we don't suddenly get, like, 50 more heroes, you know, like, whatever, 16 heroes on release.
All right.
How much would you be willing to pay for this?
It to me
I-
depends on how much of everything it puts into it.
Let's
but-
let's say we get, we're getting 16 heroes on release, right?
Right.
You know, beta key is obviously irrelevant. You get, let's say, exclusive. It says skins, plural. So let's say 2 skins, a beta key to share with a friend, and, like, I don't know, 2 icons.
Right. Well, I just want to point out first that Motia has pointed out multiple times that they plan on having 20 heroes released. So I'm just going to say
was
that
it
as a thing.
was it 20 on release? I hadn't heard.
I think so. That's what
Yeah,
they're
I seem
shooting
to remember
for.
them talking
I
about
don't-
that back at East
I
and
don't-
South.
But
Yeah, I mean, let's say conservatively 16.
16, because that's what
got
they
right
have
now.
already, yeah.
Yeah,
right. So
assuming Roland comes back.
So,
Yeah.
considering that I'm already in beta, that's kind of worthless to me, that first bullet point. All heroes unlocked on launch. So that's roughly 16 by what we're going at.
Yeah, 16 to 20.
So, normally in any other kind of MOBA, a hero unlock is usually about $10, roughly. About anywhere between 8 to $10.
Well, but you're also talking about bundle prices here, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get,
yeah, yeah.
like,
We're not
if you go
putting
to-
all the other, you know.
Like, if you go to, like, Here's the Storm, you can get, like, 10 heroes for, like, I don't know, $20.
Yeah, I'm just saying comparatively, like as a group, as opposed to buying it as one at a time.
Yeah.
Exclusive skins, so they're skins that if we don't buy, like according to this, if we don't buy the Founders Pack, we have absolutely no access to these skins at all, regardless of what they are or how good or bad they look. So for a lot of people, that's kind of a collecting thing.
Yeah.
And if they want to have like a full collection set, like something that I definitely probably will do, honestly, that on its own is already like a giant boost of monetarily.
Yeah.
Extra beta keys, it'll depend on how many we're given.
I'm assuming like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to find a beta key these days. Like,
So hard to find a beta key these days.
Yeah.
my apologies to anyone in chat who doesn't have a beta key.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, we have the massive mega thread for all the friends, beta keys that people are giving away. All of the streamers got a whole bunch. A lot of third-party people got a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then exclusive profile icons, which kind of rolls into the same idea of those exclusive skins, where this is the only chance you'll actually be able to buy them, and that's a kind of good collector's thing. So with all of that, and considering me specifically as a person that I actually do like to play every single hero, and I pride myself on knowing how all of them work, and I'm actually relatively good with most, if not all of them, I'd easily pay $50. If not more.
Shmoo?
I would say anywhere between 25 to 50 would be a good range for it. 25 if it was on the low end of things that are included, just heroes and maybe 1 or 2 skins and 1 or 2 like maybe the one Founders Pack icon. I would say closer to 25. If it was more than that, or if they felt like it warranted that, I would say a good ballpark range would be something like $30 or $40, because that's what I would pay for it. I would definitely pay that.
I would say about I had 30 for that.
Yeah,
like
it would really depend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would really depend on how many skins, how many exclusive profile icons, how many heroes will actually be available on launch.
Yeah.
So I'd go anywhere between
also,
$40 to $60.
And it's also a matter of like with the heroes unlocking. Again, like I don't play every hero. If I get on and play, I'm playing like maybe 3 or 4 heroes.
Yeah.
Like consistently, and like there are some I'm just like I don't really enjoy playing those heroes. So like unlocking every hero is like really you're just unlocking like the 4 that you really like, and then you have the other ones in case something happens.
It really only matters for people who enjoy playing all of the heroes, for one, people who are looking to be competitive, for 2, so they want to have that full set of their repertoire in there, and 3, people who just want to be better at everything in the game.
Oh, sure.
Which kind of lumps into competitive. Or streamers, even. Like, streamers want to have the ability to play all of them as well.
And I'm sure they'll sell. Like, I'm sure they'll... people will buy that. That is not even a question.
That is not a question at all. Like, people are going to buy it. That's a thing. We know that's going to be a thing.
Yeah. So, I guess, I don't know, to move on, how do we feel about how Motiga handled this? Because this did kind of come out of the blue. As far as, it seemed like
they didn't
Motiga was
expect
caught
it,
unaware.
Yeah.
No one really knew what was... No one at Motiga seemed to know that this was coming. I mean, obviously they knew, Founders Pack was the thing.
Yeah.
But...
Because they made it.
Yeah. I feel like they got kind of mad at first, and then like 5 minutes later they were just like, oh, well, I guess we can't hide it now. Like kind of one of those things where it's just like, it feels like they kind of just rolled with the punches. Just like, all right, you discovered us, but we're laying down the hand here right now. Like, this stuff is not finalized. Like, this is a closed beta for a reason. These are all completely subject to change at any given point, and some of this stuff might not even exist somewhere down the line.
Well,
so it's
they essentially confirmed all of it. I mean, if you read the post that they put up, they were like, okay, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking to you about Founders Pack. We're going to be talking to you about these fortune cards. We're going to talk to you about boosters. Like, we're going to talk to you about our mods. It's like, they pretty much were like, yeah, this is legit. It's like, which is a little interesting. I'm almost surprised they weren't more like, I don't know, maybe not. Like, this guy's nuts. Like, look at him over there. Maybe this is all made up.
Yeah, and they also, I mean, a little bit of redirecting as well, because it almost feels like they feel a little bit of animosity towards the data miner as well, because when they look at the original post, it says, if you haven't heard about this, go check it out here, and they don't link back to the original poster. They link back to us, because we made a post about it. We're like, hey, guys, look at this. This is the thing. We said, hey, look, somebody data mined this out. Founders Pack is the thing. But instead of linking back to the original poster and saying, hey, look, this data miner got it, they link to us instead. So there's some animosity there. They don't like this guy that much.
Though honestly, I somewhat agree with you, but I'd say that's just a matter of like a
perspective almost.
Well, I don't think they like. They don't necessarily like linking to the site when it's also like the guy just data mining for like 6 or 7 games.
Okay, yeah.
I think there's just a matter of like the site is covered in like ads for like Smite and like Overwatch and like other games, and it's just like they probably don't want to just like hard link to a site that's gonna send people to other games.
Yeah, fair enough. So maybe it is a little bit of that.
Valentin actually brings up a good point. You know, he says, I think they're reasonably upset since they were going to be talking about it in the near future and they didn't get to reveal it. So it's like it's kind of one of those things where this data miner kind of took that. He kind of took that sense of like surprise and like, oh wow, this is something that could be really cool, like from them, and then just kind of posted it without even kind of any kind of.
Well, and that kind of also goes back to like one of your major principles of press releasing as well, is you want to be ahead of the story. If a story's going to happen and you know it's going to be a story, you want to be the one ahead. You want to be the one leaking it because then you get to control it. So
yeah,
that's one thing I guess they're obviously mad about that, because why wouldn't you be mad about that? Like, hey, look, we wanted to control the story, but then this dude did something, and now we have to play catch up. We have to wrangle the masses together and say, hey, look, no, that's not a thing. At least it may not be a thing, or it could not be a thing. We may disintegrate it, or may not be the same way you saw it. All that stuff. So. Yeah. Now they have to wrangle in the cattle, basically.
Yeah.
You know, and so, yeah, I would say then, yeah, this guy's the cattle rustler. He's trying to let everyone out and make his own business. But that's fine. This is organic. That's how it's going to happen.
You know, and honestly, like, you know, I agree with, like, both the people in the chat and kind of the like, yeah, like, this is, it sucks for them, and, like, they're, you know, it ruined the surprise party to
I
a certain
know where
extent.
This is going.
But,
I know
like,
exactly where this is going because we discussed it last week, or the first week.
Yeah, like this is their own damn fault.
It's their own fault. They put it into the files. If they didn't put it in the files, they wanted to hide it. All they had to do was just leave it out.
Yeah, like,
right.
And like some of these, it's like I don't like sometimes like some of the old ones where it's like, oh, we found some maps. It's like, okay, I could just see that being like there was an internal build with the maps in it, and like you just forgot to take them out because like they were prototypes, and who cares, right? Like it's not like they're gonna do a triumphant, hey guys, here's our new map, like look at all of this stuff. But like this was major. This was a really massive leak of information that was, you know, it's not even, people didn't even, like, expect this. Like, we all expect it's like, we're gonna see more maps. Like, woo. Or, you know, even if it was, like, a new hero, it'd be like, yeah, there's gonna be new heroes. That's not surprising. But, like, all of the advanced monetization stuff is just like, why was this even in the build? At all? Like, why was the Founders Pack in the build? That's, like, I can understand the, like, we put in the finance system, and, you know, like, the internal gold system got put in, and, like, the booster packs. Like, that stuff, like, I can kind of understand, because, like, that's just, like, okay, well, they have to code it in at some point.
At some point,
like, the Founders Pack is, like, why is this even in here? Why is there this much information about it?
Yeah. And exactly, this is what Kit and Liz are saying, too, is like, Motiga needs to work on their file management and patch handling, because, especially this last patch, because there was a patch, it was a hotfix patch, you know, it was one of the reasons, like, they announced, hey, look, the testing is only open between 10 a.m. today and 10 p.m. today. It's a one-day thing.
Yeah.
That's testing out the stress test of the matchmaking system. So this was a hotfix. But why was this in here? Yeah. It's only supposed to be a hotfix. Let's put out something that only includes this hotfix in it, period. But I guess they just kind of rushed out like, oh, quick, put this out here, and forgot that they had all these things still in the same build?
Well, and it's also like, how did... Like, you had to have known this has been coming. Like, this guy's been data mining your builds for a month now. Like, this... Like, if this had been, like, first open beta build, or first closed beta build, like, they found all this, it'd be like... okay, like, maybe you had thought, like, no one was paying attention, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you're on, like, build 4. There's been drama all over the community about, like, whether or not, how we feel about data mining. Like, Motigans have commented publicly about how they feel about data mining previously and that they don't like it, and yet they literally do the opposite of releasing less information. Like, they
release more.
More information and more sensitive information in a patch.
Yeah, it's like, and Echo does make a good point. Is they add the stuff in the when patching, they just allow you to see what they want, and there are several departments and they can't have 30 different builds at one time. But why can't you? Come on, you're a company.
No. Well, yeah, I was saying, like, as someone that literally builds systems for products for a living.
That's literally what he does.
It's not that hard.
That's literally what he does.
Like, if you have version control, you make a couple extra branches. I mean, yeah, like, it takes some more work and it takes some more time, but, like, this is the trade-off, right? Like, you accept that if you are going to be lazy about it and not have good, a rigorous build process that lets you exclude and include files, you're gonna let this happen. Like, you can't simultaneously be like, we are going to do nothing to prevent data mining, and then still be angry that it happens.
Yeah.
Like, that's just living in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
And Valentin made a good point, too. They said they were going to be talking about monetization soon, so it might have been done, like, as a point... Like, it might have been done on purpose, but it's still one of those things where it's like, if it's in there, a data miner is going to find it. And
they don't care about your schedule.
They don't care about your schedule. They don't care about... Oh, I shouldn't say that, because maybe they do. But I was going to say they don't care about, ethics of release and stuff. Like, they want to put out stuff because they want to just... It's kind of one of those... It's kind of one of those self-pride things where it's just like, I found this first. I'm freaking awesome, and I'm going to tell everyone about it. You know, like, if they put it in the files, they don't really have the right to get genuinely upset that someone found it when they know that someone was going to look for it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's already happened. You kind of just have to roll with it now.
Yeah. And I mean, I do appreciate the response, though, saying, hey, look, there's a lot of information out there, and there's a lot of questions that people are asking about that, so we're going to go ahead and say, hey, look, cat's out of the bag, let's talk about it now. Let's bring some information out to the public beyond what we've already talked about. It's going to come through all this sort of... It's going to be coming through Thor. It's going to be coming through the stream team. And they are going to be talking about it and answering these questions. I like that. Because they very easily could have just said, hey, look, yeah, no, screw this guy, fuck that, and not release any answers to questions. They very easily could have.
They didn't answer that many questions anyway.
Not yet.
The interesting thing that Echo Swan brings up in chat is there was some content that wasn't in the beta files. So it was from, either the core servers, the long-lost rumored core servers, or something else. My personal speculation is this person has other sources.
Yeah, I don't even know where he's even getting them.
I assume some of this... I think some of this might be from their website. Like, I could imagine some of this is on dark links on their website where somebody uploaded it to the site and, like, didn't put a link to it. But, like, it's not terribly hard to just, like, start guessing links and see what pops up, depending on how well they secured their website.
Yeah.
Like, that would 0%... And it's one of those... You can kind of see, like, especially in, like, the profile... the splash arts for some of the skins, like, some of them are in different levels of quality.
Yeah.
It's like you talk back to, like, what we were saying about the maps. When the maps got released, there were, like, a couple that looked like it was, like, someone's, like, notebook sketch of a map. It's like, that does not look like a polished product. And, like, some of the splash arts don't look... They look different. They do look like a different art style than the other ones in a way that is, like, it's like 20 of them all look the same, and then there's, like, 2 that are a slightly different style.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wonder if he's not pulling from multiple sources outside of just the game files.
Yeah. Like, game files is one thing, but, this guy's not in core or anything. He's not in...
I mean,
we don't know.
Yeah, we know... Who knows who this guy is? Like, I mean, people know who he is, but, like, we don't know...
But
presumably he's in beta, that's it.
When I say core, like, Motiga has to have their own separate core for their own QA people. Like, that's... Like, that has to be a thing. Like, there's no way that it can't be.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, he would not have any access to that. There's absolutely no way. So it has to be from something else.
And I doubt it's someone, like, this is where it starts getting, like, Mission Impossible. I mean, I doubt it's somebody that works for the company. That would be ridiculous. I doubt it's even one of their internal QAs. Like, that... Yeah. Like, the odds that they would have hired a guy that does data mining.
Yeah.
Like 0.
And never mind that would very easily get them fired for doing that. So,
and potentially
but
be illegal
I would say
depending on their
you're
contract.
yeah. I would say Perry's probably hitting it more on the head. They're probably pulling it from either the website or there's somebody outside of that of that group or somebody that's in Core that is also data mining and is sharing information with them.
But the issue is it's not just like hey guys, there's a thing. It's like the fact that it's like literally assets.
Yeah.
That like people. That like we don't know where these assets are coming. I don't know. It's interesting. It's somewhat irrelevant, but I don't know. It's an interesting setup. I wonder if it starts becoming a situation where Motiga internally can figure out where these pictures are coming from because like they presumably know like what file that was, right?
Yeah.
Like if they can like look at all the pictures they upload and be like, okay, that file has only been on like this place, this place, this place, this place, and work out like where this person's getting his stuff from. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing's for true, though. This data miner is working his ass off to find these things and get them out there. And it might not be, like, the best and most ethical thing in the world, but damn, you gotta give props for commitment.
Yeah. Well, and it's also interesting because it's someone that's been data mining other games.
Yeah.
Like, that's what makes it less likely that it's...
somebody within Motiga.
Yeah, unless it's, like, someone's leaking to him. But then, like, why? Why would you do that? Like... like, I can understand, like, internal leaks from, like, someone like Riot, where it's, like, they've got hundreds and hundreds of employees, and, like, there's no way you'd ever trace it back to them, and, like, everyone in the world cares.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, like, this guy's maybe probably getting 300 views, half of this. Like, it's not like he's making a bank account off of
this
gigantic data mining, like...
There's 4 comments on it, which is interesting. And one of them is Troy, But that one comment from Troy is interesting. It's like, would you contact me for some partnership discussions?
Conspiracy Troy is the data miner.
So maybe Motiga is talking about this. Like, hey, look, this data miner is doing work, and he's putting out information. He's doing this. Let's try and control it. Let's get him working with us. Because we know what's going to happen, so let's work with him.
I mean, like, honestly, that's somewhat... Like, it starts becoming a, like...
Conspiracy theory.
Well, it starts becoming a, like, if you start shutting him down, somebody else is going to do it. Like, you're not going to be able to kill this.
No, definitely
not. Now that this person has shown that you can get views for data mining, like...
somebody else is going to do it, too.
Yeah, someone else is going to do this. Like, you're never going to be able to stop it.
Yeah.
Like, the way you stop it is by sanitizing your builds.
Exactly. Sanitize the builds, sanitize the website, sanitize any place that people can get any information from that isn't heavily controlled, like a core environment or a QA environment. And that's what's important. But one thing that this does bring up is obviously those questions of monetization. We kind of talked about them, and all these other things. But what are we looking for, like, in monetization? I mean, obviously, Founders Pack, we're saying $30 to $50, in that range. Probably on the low ball end on that range. But what about other things? Like, what if we wanted to buy a skin individually? What do you think that should cost?
Honestly, with these skins, I think a lot of it's quality, right? Like, I hate to keep calling back to League of Legends, but League of Legends, it is kind of the gold standard of we successfully monetize the game, guys.
It's perfect. It's a perfect example.
It's the placard on the wall.
So what skins for League are like $5 to what is like 25 the most they've ever charged? I'm trying to remember what like some of the
25 or 30.
Were.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit more. But
Spirit, it was like Spirit Guard Udyr, I think was like
Spirit
25.
Guard, Pulsefire, DJ Sona.
Got to like 35 at the
most.
most.
Halloween
and that's the scale between
Zombie Brand was expensive.
I think Zombie Brand was 15. Regardless, I think it's like essentially it's like $5 for like recolors, old skins, basic stuff. 30 on the upper end. But the thing you got to remember is you got to take that scale and you got to slide it up because we're talking about 3D models.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
the amount of work that's required to make a basic like League of Legends skin is probably an order of magnitude less man hours than it's going to require to make a basic gigantic skin.
But I don't know if it is, because the models that are in League of Legends are also 3D models that do take a considerable amount of work to go into as well. You're just not looking at it closely enough.
The other thing is a lot of people's particles in Gigantic are very because the particles are also 3D. Like you think about like Zenobia. If you're there's now Red Zenobia, right? Like Red Zenobia is one of the splash arts that got released. If Red Zenobia is still creating purple artifacts, it looks weird. So presumably we are also going to get
red artifacts,
purple pools, and like that recolor is also going to take time and effort. Even if it's not like there's a much greater cascade of stuff that has to change. Whereas like League, like the base level skins, like Ash shoots the same arrows in like all of her skins except for 2.
Wow. Echo Spawn's got his own opinion on Lockdown. Skin should cost $8 for recolor, $12 for redesign, $15 for new release redesign, and $20 for effect particle redesign.
See, I think effect particle redesign is going to be on most of them, honestly. Like, because you look at and obviously some. This is where it gets interesting because I think like Zenobia is probably the example of someone whose particles are the most dramatically different. Charnok as well, but like they both have like a lot of static like things that hang around a map. Whereas like you look at somebody like Mozu. Mozu. Pretty simple particles.
Yeah,
it's like it's not that hard to change the color of like the laser.
No,
it's like it's a lot of work to change the color of some of the other stuff.
Yeah, and it's not like it would be really hard. It really depends on the hero too, like what we're saying. Like someone like Sven, you don't need to change the colors of the chemicals as you throw them because a fire flask obviously has to be like that red, orange, yellow explosive of fire. The acid flask is purple and it melts armor. Like blue is a calming color, so healing waters. Like that makes perfect sense. Like you can't see like a demonic. Well, actually, that'd be kind of cool. Demonic Sven skin. You kind of throw the healing waters just like a pillar of fire.
And a lot of that's also just a visual consistency thing.
Yeah.
Like Sven's things need to all look the same, and like Zenobia can get away with different colors because like her particles are so visually distinct.
Yeah.
But like a lot of other people, like they still kind of have to look the same in order for the game to still be mostly playable.
Yeah. You can't just go ahead and say, "Hey, look, this pool of water on the ground is now a pillar of fire." Because that wouldn't make any sense. I'd understand if maybe it was like a pool of fire, like a little, but even then that's a stretch because that's like Charnok has pools of fire and those hurt you. Even Sven does too, because you could throw the right mouse button pot and set it on fire, and that creates a pool of fire. So there has to be that sense. Yeah, there has to be that sense of consistency of the build, of consistency of certain effects, but I think, even the $20 for effect particle redesign, that is very, because like you said, it's mostly just going to be recolors. You can't, it's hard to go ahead and say, hey, look, this thing is completely different now. It's going to be a different effect. Maybe with Charnok, he's like a water shaman Charnok, and he shoots water particles instead of fire particles. Okay, that would be cool. Maybe I'd pay a little bit extra for that. But a lot of the particle changes are just going to be simple, hey, look, we changed the color. So that should be part of a standard, a standard way of doing things, like a standard price. I'd say $8 to $10 for any skin at this point for what we've seen would be fine for me. I don't think I would want to pay more than $15 for anything in the game, being totally honest. But $8 to $10, I'll pay that for a regular skin. I'll do that. If it was going to be a major particle rechange like that Water Shaman Charnok, sure, totally do it. Totally would pay $15 to $20 for that. But that's a very specific thing. One thing that wasn't even leaked that everyone wants would be Gigantic, or the Titan reskins. Guardian reskins.
Yeah.
What if the Naga wasn't, this demonic Naga? What if he was a wind serpent, like Chinese wind serpent style? Or what if the Griffin was more of a demonic looking Griffin? But how would that be handled as well across 5 different players, across 10 players? How would that be handled and whatnot? So that's one question, and how much would that cost and all this sort of stuff. That's one question to worry about. But as it comes right on down to it, I wouldn't be too much into paying more than $10, $15 for any individual item in the game. Packs, okay.
Announcer packs, Valentine.
I want announcer packs. The thing though is, like, you think about the only other game that really did announcer packs well was Dota 2. And
that Smite did a little bit. Dawngate definitely
did.
Okay, but like
game I played.
you Dawngate fans. Let it die.
Donkey for life.
Let it die. No.
Oh god.
But I don't know. I as much as I like the idea of announcer packs, the problem is like the voiceovers right now are the Guardian talking to you, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, if you like made like, all of a sudden the Griffin is now like the dude from Stanley Parable, it would be weird. Like, I don't feel like announcer packs work as well because there's a character behind them in Gigantic. Whereas,
that's very
in Joda, it's just like some ambiguous voice telling you things. And so
Yeah.
you can get away with the ambiguous voice is now like The Simpsons. And like, that's weird, but we don't really care because it was always just like some random voice. Whereas this, it's like, if the Guardian, the Guardian's like, help everyone, give me strength. It would be so weird.
Especially if that was the Naga.
Yeah.
I just imagine with announcer packs, like you specifically said it's because it's the Guardians are the ones making the voice, but I just imagine like you have like a Sven announcer pack, and then like you just charge across the field and you turn around and face your Guardian, it's just a giant Sven just standing there.
That would be so scary.
He's just like,
I wouldn't be able to handle that.
Enemy creatures to gain power. It's like amazing.
I wouldn't be able to handle that
man.
at all.
I would love it. Oh my god, it sounds amazing.
And then also, we're not even talking about, how much would be, say we wanted to buy the currency, the in-game currency. How much would, what would the exchange rates for that be? Would I be buying 1,000 of our currency for $10? Or whatnot,
I know we have heard, because I know someone, I don't remember if this was like something that was on the Clash course or something, but I remember, I think like at a PAX, like somebody was like, now that you're with Xbox, do we have to do the stupid Microsoft points? And then like, I buy 1,000 Microsoft points and a skin costs like 876 Microsoft points. And I end up with like, because like I still have like, I don't know, like 75 RP in my League of Legends account. It's just like, what am I going to do with this? I can't buy anything with it.
Yeah.
And they like, one of the devs like specifically said like, we are going to make it so if you can buy them in $5 increments, that skins cost $5. Like, you will be able to put in enough money to buy the thing you want and only the thing you want.
Yeah, that
obviously
exactly.
You could probably get like a larger bundle of it, but like essentially it will all be in evenly divisible chunks, which is like, thank you. That is like,
and that's really
just,
all
like,
you have to worry about.
Yeah, it's like that's just like that shows at least some commitment to like, we are not gonna like screw you over by intentionally doing things that make it easier. Like, we're not doing deceptive tactics to try to make you buy more stuff by like leaving abandoned money in your account where it's like, but if I only spend $2 more, I can buy something again. And then you end up with like, and if I can only spend $3 more, I can buy something again. It's like, no, we're just gonna let you buy the stuff.
I think it's really funny that Valentin and EchoSpawn say I wouldn't sell in-game currency, and in-game currencies are dying out way too hard. It would just be easier to do cash transactions. But yeah, like Shmoo literally just said, the game includes transactions. There is a like
it includes gems.
Yeah,
that was gems.
It's a paid currency. It's there on the screen when you open the client. It's the green.
No, I mean obviously
the
they
gem.
They could get rid of it.
They could get rid of it. At this point, I mean, it is still closed beta, and they did say, hey, look, the game is still being subjected to massive tectonic level changes. So, yeah, they could very easily get rid of gems and just make everything, instead of paying, hey, look, let me buy this currency, and now let me use this currency to buy this, instead just say, hey, look, I'm buying this for $5. They could do that, and there's already a system in place for it, just like EchoSpawn said, hey, it's all straight money on Xbox. You just buy this with money. So they very easily could just do that.
Well,
HOTS kind of done that. Yeah.
Here's the Storm has that, right? That you just pay a specific amount of money and you'll get the hero.
Well, and I think the other thing though is some of that is because, as I recall, there's some reasons they use in-game currency in a lot of games is because it lets them get around gambling. So it lets you do things like League of Legends, like the mystery skins. Like technically, if you were doing that with real money, I think it would be like considered gambling, and you can't do it.
I guess maybe.
Yeah, and I feel like League kept it because I'm going to go back to the example you said before. You know, you buy a certain amount of RP, you buy a hero skin, you get left with a specific amount of RP, like 75 or 103 or something. You know, over time, if you keep buying more skins and more heroes and more skins get released, because League's such a huge game with a huge pool of heroes and an even larger amount of skins. Over time, if you keep buying more skins, those RP points kind of stack up, and then before you know it, you have, like, you've saved enough RP just to be able to buy a flat-out skin.
That
without
really,
actually
all that
paying
reminds
for
me
it.
of is back when I used to actually buy things using iTunes, and you would get like a $25 iTunes gift card and have like the dollar left after buying an album, you know, or like the $10 gift card and have the dollar left after buying an album or something, and it's like, oh hey, we have 5 cents after this that we saved up off of getting this however many things, and now we can get another thing, and that's okay, I guess, but really, I prefer just saying, hey, look, let me just buy this for the money I'm putting into it. Let me not have any extras lying around. And what it may even be is, like, one of the byproducts I think it is a byproduct of, say, you know, buying with a certain amount of money and getting more than technically the exchange rate is. Like, the base exchange rate is $5 equals 500 gems. But if you put in $100, you get 150,000 gems. You know, it's a little bit of a byproduct of that, where they're just scaling up percentage-wise, but that's easily controllable.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily a problem to say, hey, look, everything's going to be divisible by 0. None of this, you know, a skin is 875 gems, and
But
you have to pay $10 for 1,000.
But Shmoo, everything is divisible by 0.
You be quiet. I meant, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Zero's out is what I meant. Thank you.
0 is right out.
0 is right out.
No zeros ever. Oh boy.
Oh man, there is 0 reason for them to go with currency in their game.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
maybe.
I don't know. That's their own internal whatever.
Yeah.
We can voice our opinion. I mean, they of course listen to the community as more than any game has ever done ever. But
Well, that's
I
what this
mean,
is.
Yeah,
That's what
so,
this is.
It's just up to discussion. I still think we're a ways away from a release here, even though
Oh, yeah.
like it's under 6 months for sure. But I want to say at
think-
least 3, at least 3 more.
I'm not sure though. I feel like we might see a release pretty. Like I think we
Early
might see
2016.
I think we're going to see the shop. move
Well,
in
shop fairly
pretty
soon.
Like I think we're going to see like stuff for sale in the not too distant future.
I'm thinking maybe anywhere
Next.
between a month or a couple of weeks to a couple months. I would agree with. Like, between October to November, I would say we're going to see the store sometime soon. And that may include, hey, look, we're moving the last stages of closed beta into open beta. That may include that. And I'm fine with that. I'm
Yeah.
perfectly fine with that. If the Founders Pack includes, you know, not, you know, a beta invite, and instead it just includes all these other things in it, I'm fine with that too. Let's, you know, that would be fine by me.
Just watch it be next week. Store in the game. Founders Pack. Buy it now.
Just don't do what Dawngate did and say, hey, look, currency's in the game, you should totally buy something, as soon as you log in for the first time.
Yeah, that's a little.
That was an accident, by the way. That was an accident. Like, they always do a little splash screen when you
I
log
do
into the
remember
game.
that.
Yeah,
That's
when you log
hilarious.
into the game, they said, hey, look, this is the new feature. Go check it out. It didn't matter what the new feature was. This was just an unfortunate circumstance of the new feature was money.
Hey, give us your money.
Exactly. That was the problem. It was, hey, give us your money, basically. Don't do that. Obviously, don't do that. But, you know, I would not necessarily disagree with saying maybe next week. We don't know. I mean, the stores, by
I would
what we've
imagine-
seen...
I would imagine they're expediting it now. Like they almost have to.
Yeah, they almost have to. But it is all very much
but we
speculation.
need the party system, man.
We need the party
Yeah,
system.
tell me about it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But that, again, we already know, hey, look, this is something they're working on. This is something they're worried about. This is something that they know is causing them a backlash. So it's obviously number one on their priorities. So, you know, it just takes time. Let's be patient. Let it take time.
These shows get longer and longer every week.
They really
We've had
do.
we've had a consistent 8 viewers though.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this.
I'm okay
Yeah.
with this. But thank you guys so much for coming on by and watching. Really appreciate that. I would be linking you to another gigantic streamer, but as we do know, streaming is on hold for the week, and as they do this stress test, maybe longer, we'll see. But we appreciate you guys for coming on out. Do remember to follow us down below at Wolfman, at Schmuglidorf, or at the Noirbot for up-to-date updates to what we do, as well as up above we have at GG Unleashed for the Go Gigantic Unleashed Twitter, so that way you can get the full update on when Bull Rush is going to start and what we'll be talking about. We may also be making Reddit posts in the future saying, hey, look, this is what's on tap for Bull Rush this week, come check it out. Or, hey, sorry you missed it, but here's the VOD. All of our VODs are going straight up to our YouTube. You can check out all past bull rushes, and this one is no exception. That will be up there by the end of the weekend. And thank you so much for coming on by. You guys have anything else to say?
No. Have a good weekend, everyone. See you next week.
Yeah, we'll be here. Woo!
Thank you guys for coming on by.